we've got the mortar and quite a big change to workbenches, and even our first look at the new player models which are coming to Rust. Guys, the Rust devs are cooking, and for once, I think we might actually have a buff to solos. Now, workbenches are getting upgrades. This almost feels like I'm playing a mobile game. That is my one complaint, but at the same time, it is kind of cool. I've ordered these in what I think is the most important one. The majority are pretty good, but let's get into this. First of all, even though this here is called a cooking workbench, it doesn't take any mods whatsoever. However, the engineering workbench does take upgrades. So we can say goodbye to this. First of all, I'll quickly show you how many slots each workbench has. The level 1 only has 4 slots. The engineering is the same, 4 slots. The workbench level 2 has an extra one. We have 5 here. And the workbench level 3 has 6 slots. Okay, so let's test these upgrades. First of all, we have 10% chance to produce a free bonus item when crafting in batches. Obviously, doesn't apply to rockets or C4, but it didn't say doesn't apply to explosive ammo, so we're going to test that. Let's put the efficiency upgrade into our tier 3. Now, I'll quickly jump an upgrade here. This one's quite good. We have the accelerated workbench upgrade. It increases crafting speed. Pretty standard. This one may be the best one. It increases it by 25%. So we're going to add that in just so we can speed things up a bit. As you can see, this giant box has popped up. Obviously, these upgrades are a work in progress, so I'm guessing this will change. But if you take a look in the bottom right, you can actually see the icons of what upgrades you have installed in your workbench. Okay, let's quickly craft some explosive ammo. So when you normally craft explosive ammo, you get 2 per 1 click here. So I'm going to throw this one out. So I'm going to type in 10 here. If we get more than 20 while crafting, then we'll know that this does work on explosive ammo. There we go. So we hit the 10% twice. We got 24. So this is actually insane considering it works on some other explosives. To me, this does kind of feel a little bit broken, but for solos, this is great. But of course, the argument of buffing solos, guys, it is impossible to only buff a solo. The only thing they could really do is change the clan UI again, but no matter what you do to this game, if you make it easier for one player, you're gonna make it easier for a clan. You just can't avoid it. But either way, I like this change. This is great. Hopefully people will be less scared to lose Boom and actually do some online raids for once. Of course, that's probably not going to happen. Next up, we have the defensive workbench upgrade here. This guarantees to have at least 1 armor plate. Once again, this is brilliant. It kind of makes teas a little less valuable, especially the crafting teas. Of course, you're not guaranteed to get 3 plates every time, so it's not completely busted, but let's quickly give it a test here. Let's make our road sign kilt, and there you go, guaranteed 1 slot. Next, with the reinforced workbench upgrade, increases the workbench max HP by 150%. So let's quickly check the HP now. We're at 750. If we quickly add this in, we're now 1,875. Of course, by the looks of things, you are going to have to manually upgrade this to get the full HP. It doesn't just give it to you. So yeah, you are going to do that yourself with high core and fragments. This is a great upgrade for when you go offline so people don't just steal your tier 3, or if you want to place it in front of a doorway just to stop any online raiders. Let's quickly remove these items here just to get rid of that bulky white outline. Next up, we have the recycle bin workbench upgrade. Each craft has a chance to refund 0 to 10% of the ingredient cost back to you in raw material form. This one, to me, feels like maybe the worst one. I guess if you're super poor, this could be good, but I probably, out of the 6 slots I have, wouldn't use this one. There you go, it already worked there. It gave us a little bit back. There you go, gone up again as we're making the explosive ammo. So yes, it works on gunpowder. There you go, gone up. It's actually happening quite common. So maybe not that bad, but it is such a small amount, I still wouldn't use it. Here we have the comfort workbench upgrade, provides 100% comfort, obviously around your workbench. This is great if you don't have a chair in your base, I guess. There you go, as you can see, the comfort is popping up bottom right. While this does save some room in your base, not putting like a chair down or something, I probably still wouldn't use it as it is taking up a slot. Here we have the range workbench upgrade, doubles the workbench crafting radius, letting you craft from twice as far away. Now, this is good. I do like this. Once again, it's not as broken as some of the others, but here you go. Here's the range with that on. So if we just remember where we kind of are there, take this off. There you go. So we have to be around here to get the workbench compared to here. Well, it's a cool thing to have. once again, I'm probably not going to use it, especially as someone that plays mainly solo or duo. You kind of always need your workbench because I just don't build giant bases. There's no need for it as a small group. Here we have the salvage workbench upgrade. Reduce the scrap cost of all tech tree unlocks at this bench by 20%. Now we're going to use this on the tier 2 as I've already unlocked some of the tier 3 here. So let's move over. So if we go to say upgrade the P250, this is going to cost us 420 scrap. If we quickly put this upgrade in for the minus 20%, this is now going to cost us 336. So not bad at all. Quite a nice upgrade for sure, especially for solos. Because of course, as a clan, getting scrap is pretty easy. So most definitely a buff to solos. Here's another one that might save you some scrap. The prototype workbench upgrade allows unlocking any tech tree item regardless of progression. Cost is doubled and there is a 10% chance of failure that still consumes resources. So this one does have a little bit of a negative to it, but either way, let's give it a quick test. So let's say we want to instantly go down to the SAR. Let's see if it lets us do the prototype for just 120. And it did work. There was no failing there. So let's spam it again. Let's see what happens when it fails. Oh, there we go. That was our first one that failed. I tried to do the high caliber revolver here. It took our scrap. And it did fail. However, I spammed it a lot before I got a foul. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tries. So I beat the odds just by a bit. But yes, it has a chance to fail for sure. There we go. Let's actually get that. So it's a bit of a gamble, but definitely a good upgrade. Last but not least, we have the surplus workbench upgrade. 20% chance to produce a random surplus part, 1 through 8, when crafting. Surplus parts are used in special alternate recipes. Now, I've looked all over online. I don't think this one is fully coded into the game just yet. Where it says it has a chance to produce a random surplus part, I have a feeling it will just create a random component and give it to you. So let's put this into our tier 3 here and just spam craft the explosive ammo again and just see if it wants to give us anything back. So it really doesn't seem to be doing anything. We are running through all of our gunpowder here and we have not got a single drop from this upgrade. I'm sure it will be implemented. I'm kind of guessing it's going to give you a random component. I can't imagine it will give you a random upgrade. That doesn't make much sense considering a 20% chance is really good odds, but I'm sure we will see. And as soon as I know about it, I will let you guys know. So don't forget to subscribe. So that is pretty much it for all of the workbench upgrades. Another thing I forgot to mention is when you put workbenches down now, they're going to be very bare, as you can see here, not much going on. But when you add all of the upgrades, things do get added. The chairs there, this recycling bins there, and I'm sure these new models will eventually be made into the game and bring a bit more character back to the workbenches because they do look sad and empty. Now, to actually craft these workbench upgrades, they're kind of expensive. They will have different crafting recipes as of now. However, they are also locked behind the blueprint. Of course, these are not on the tier 2, tier 1 or tier 3. So I can imagine you will have to spot learn these things, find them in the wild, maybe from a lock crate or an elite crate, and get them that way. If we take a quick look at the crafting recipes just for the accelerated, which is one of the best ones, it's 3 gears, 3 springs and 100 scrap, which for arguably one of the best ones isn't that expensive compared to other ones like the salvage workbench here, which is 500 scrap. Of course, this is a very good upgrade. And we have others like the surplus workbench, 5 gears, 3 metal springs and 300 scrap. So yeah, it's all pretty different and all quite expensive. Moving on to the mortar, which is a new raiding weapon being added to Rust. This thing, as of now, when trying to place it is quite strange. With most things in Rust, when you place something, it has this blue transparency. The mortar doesn't. I'm sure this will be changed, but it's quite funny to see. Now, the mortar shell is a workbench level 3 item. This thing costs 2 metal pipes, 150 gunpowder, and 10 explosives, quite expensive. It is actually exactly the same as a rocket. As of testing these things, lining it up is a little bit of a nightmare. I won't completely lie. So let's load this thing up and shoot our dud wall. Doesn't have really any sound at the moment. But there we go, let's hit that. And let's see how much damage this has actually done. Quite a lot. Now if we test it against the rocket here, which is the same cost, so 314 with the mortar, and a rocket is 363. So the mortar is slightly better. And of course with the mortar, you can spam load this thing so far. Look, I'm still going, this is much quicker than the rocket launcher. However, it did just miss right there, even though I have not moved the mortar whatsoever. So clearly not 100% accurate, but definitely quicker. Much like the catapult over here, lining the mortar up is going to be a bit of a nightmare. So I see this being used on giant clan bases, but definitely not for smaller bases. The mortar itself doesn't actually have any craft costs. The mortar shell is there, but not the mortar, so that is quite strange. While I do love new methods like this to raid, I feel like as a solo or a duo, you're just not going to be using these things, as the circumstances literally have to be perfect. Once again, this is a work in progress, so we will see what happens. And the last thing that I'm going to cover on this video today is the Rust player models are getting their change. This isn't going to be coming next wipe. This may be even the end of the year. And looking at the community, people seem to like this a lot. And in my opinion, yeah, these models look great. They look really, really good. Of course, there's always going to be people complaining, but as Alistair says here, Rust doesn't stand still, which I think is an amazing thing, especially when the changes look like this. Like, this is not a bad change whatsoever. Of course, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a custom player model. So I'm going to be kind of intrigued to see what happens when it comes to the meta player model that everyone's going to use, or if they're going to make it so you get like a random seed that you can change every month. I don't know what they're going to do, but all I can say is the models look very good. They actually keep that Rust feel. I was kind of nervous that they were just not going to look or feel anything like Rust, but this is, yeah, this fits right in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you think there's anything I missed, just let me know.